Today, we're going to talk about something pretty incredible, a technology that lets doctors see inside your eye in microscopic detail, all without ever touching it. It's called Optical Coherence Tomography. You'll hear it called OCT, and believe me, it has totally changed the game when it comes to eye care.
So let's just start with this question right here. I mean, think about it. How is it even possible for a doctor to get a picture of the inside of your eye, layer by tiny layer, without touching you? It honestly sounds like something straight out of science fiction, right? But it's not. It's a real technology, and it's what OCT is all about. All right, so how on earth does this actually work? Well, the secret is all in the physics. It's this incredible idea of, well, seeing with light echoes. Yeah, that's basically what OCT is doing. It's using light to build this super detailed map of all the tiny stuff hidden inside your eye. Okay, so the fancy scientific name for this whole process is low coherence interferometry. I know that's a mouthful, but don't worry about the term. The core idea is actually pretty simple. All it's doing is measuring the light that bounces back or gets backscattered from inside your eye to create a picture. And the level of detail we're talking about here is just, wow, it's micrometer resolution. That's a millionth of a meter. Insanely small. You know, the best way to get your head around this is with an analogy. Think about an ultrasound, right? It sends sound waves into the body, and then it listens for the echoes that come back to build up a picture. Well, OCT does the exact same thing. It's the same core principle, but instead of sound, it's using echoes of light. Simple as that. So how does the machine actually measure these light echoes? It's really clever, actually. It's basically a four-step dance. First, it takes a beam of light and splits it in two. One of those beams heads off to a reference mirror. We know exactly how far away that is. The other beam, that one goes straight into your eye. Okay, so now both beams bounce back and they're brought back together, recombined. And when they meet, something amazing happens. They create this special pattern called an interference pattern. And by reading that pattern, the machine can figure out the exact depth of every single layer inside the retina. It's genius. But of course, technology never just stands still, right? The first version of OCT was amazing for its time, but a huge upgrade came along that turned it into the absolute powerhouse we use today. So let's talk about that big leap forward. Okay, this really shows you the before and after. The original, which we call Time-Domain OCT, had this little moving mirror inside. It had to scan the eye one single layer at a time. As you can imagine, it was slow. And if you blinked or moved, you'd get a blurry image. But then came the upgrade, Spectral-Domain OCT. This was a total game changer. It got rid of that moving mirror completely. Now it could grab all the depth information from every layer at the exact same time. We're talking hundreds of times faster, way less blurry, and much, much higher resolution. A massive improvement. So what was the result of all that? Well, no surprise here, Spectral-Domain OCT became the new gold standard, almost overnight. These days, it's pretty much what you'll find in any eye clinic you walk into. The old tech is basically gone. Okay, so we've covered the physics, the engineering, all the how it works stuff. But what does this mean in the real world? What does a doctor actually see when they do an OCT scan? Let's dive in and look at how they use this to basically decode the map of your retina. So the image that pops out of an OCT machine is called a B-scan. And honestly, the best way to think about it is like a virtual biopsy. It gives the doctor this amazing cross-section view of all the different layers of your retina. It's just like they're looking at a tissue sample under a microscope. But, and this is the incredible part, without ever needing to make a cut or take a sample. It's just an unbelievable diagnostic tool. And with that B-scan in hand, doctors can run through a whole diagnostic checklist. They can look at the retinal layers to make sure everything looks normal. They can spot things that shouldn't be there, like fluid buildup or tiny cysts. They can actually measure the optic nerve head, which is super important for tracking glaucoma. They can find evidence of macular degeneration, like these little deposits called drusen, or even spot membranes growing on the retina. It's an incredibly powerful checklist for your eye health. Yeah, this quote really hits the nail on the head. Because OCT isn't just a one-and-done thing for getting a diagnosis. It's also absolutely crucial for monitoring a disease over time. You can track changes, see if a treatment is actually working, or if a condition is getting worse. It is, without a doubt, an invaluable tool. So what's next for OCT? I mean, the innovation definitely didn't stop there. The next big frontier is all about imaging the eye's blood supply in a way that's even less invasive than what we've had before. And that brings us to OCT angiography, or OCTA for short. See, in the old days, if you wanted a good look at the blood vessels in the back of the eye, You had to get an injection of a fluorescent dye. Not fun. Well, OCTA completely changes that. It's a souped-up version of OCT that can map out all those blood vessels with 0 needles and 0 dye. It's just so much faster, safer, and way more comfortable for the patient. And here's the really revolutionary part. OCTA doesn't just give you a static picture of the blood vessels. It creates a detailed map of the actual blood flow. It's not just showing where the pipes are, it's showing what's moving through them. This gives doctors a functional, moving map of the eye's entire circulatory system. And that is totally changing how we diagnose and treat all sorts of vascular diseases in the eye. So that kind of leaves us with this one big, fascinating thought to chew on. We've seen how we can go from looking inside the eye without touching it, all the way to mapping its blood flow without a single injection. I mean, if we can get that kind of detail non-invasively in an organ as complex as the eye, it just makes you wonder, right? What's next? What other parts of our bodies are we going to be able to explore just by using the power of light?